Hello, welcome back to the breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with some more updates coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I've got several stories to share with you guys today. We're going to start off with a very big story as last night Ukraine struck Russia's only remaining oil refinery in the Rostov Oblast with a combined strike from Ukraine's Navy and Security Service of Ukraine, also known as the SBU. They struck the Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery in Russia's Rostov Oblast. You can see here on your screen, completely on fire, major hits here. As far as I know, drones and Neptune missiles were both being used to strike this facility, and I believe it has been attacked multiple times this year. We did do a report on this back in March, and I think also in July it was attacked as well. Russia has had to repair this thing at least one time after direct strikes on this oil refinery. So it looks like we had a major hit here with drones and potentially even Neptune missiles completely destroying this facility, as we can see here in the video. So I've got several videos to show you guys of this thing on fire here in just a little bit. We will talk about that very soon. Also, we have reports today that Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, was holding a very long conference, I think 4.5 hours today. We'll talk about some of the things that he mentioned in regards to the war against Ukraine. And we also have Volodymyr Zelensky speaking in Brussels today as well at the European Council. And we'll show you some of his responses from Vladimir Putin's statements at his conference, and then also some of the things that he's talking about in regards to this war as well. So I also have several other videos I want to show you guys too that are coming out from Russia and Ukraine. So let's go ahead and jump right into this, guys. We're going to hop on over here real quick to this report on the Kyiv Independent. We'll go over this briefly. I'll cite it down below in the description. And then also we will jump on over to X, and I'll show you guys all the video footage coming out from there as well regarding this attack. So this is from the Kyiv Independent. This is coming out today, December 19th, 2024. It says Ukraine strikes only oil refinery operating in Russia's Rostov Oblast, military says. Here's a picture of that oil refinery on fire from that same video we were just watching. And it says down here, Ukraine's Navy and Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, carried out a combined strike against the Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery in Russia's Rostov Oblast overnight on December 19th, the General Staff of Ukraine's Armed Forces reported. Russian authorities and Telegram channels reported explosions and fire at the facility earlier the same day, connecting it to a Ukrainian drone attack. The Novoshakhtinsk facility is the only oil refinery operating in the region. The General Staff said it reportedly produces up to 7.5 million tons of oil products annually and specializes in fuel production. The city of Novoshakhtinsk lies around 10 kilometers from the Russo-Ukraine border and over 200 kilometers or 120 miles from the front line. Okay, so it's very close to the border of Ukraine. I will show you guys on a map here in just a moment where it's located at. So here's that video. We'll check that out here in just a minute. I'll show it to you guys on X. So a little bit more information here. It says initially, SBU drones attacked the facility to distract Russian air defenses, providing a window for Ukrainian-made missiles to strike the facility, an SBU source told the Kyiv Independent. Okay, so again, there was drones that attacked first. Soon after, we had Ukrainian-made Neptune missiles supposedly striking this thing at the same time, okay, or soon after. The strike resulted in a massive fire and caused significant damage, the source claimed. Yuri Slyuzar, the acting governor of Rostov Oblast, said the fire had been extinguished as of 6:45 a.m. local time. One person was reportedly injured in the region due to falling drone debris. The fire also affected the refinery's ELOU-AVT-2.5 catalytic cracking unit, according to the General Staff. Okay, so it looks like major damage to this facility. It's going to cost them probably millions of dollars to repair this thing. And then just think about the, the losses, just the damages alone. They're going to have to shut down this oil refinery most likely for a period of time, maybe weeks or months, who knows. All depends on how bad the damage is. So there's a little bit more information regarding this oil refinery down below. Again, I will cite it in the description of this video for you guys. You can head on over to the description and check out that link if you want to. So now we're going to hop on over to a map, and I want to show you guys right where this Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery is located at, okay? So it's very close to the border of Ukraine. So this is Russian territory over here. Here is Ukraine, and then the Rostov region is this kind of like a plus sign, is I guess kind of what it looks like to me. So we'll zoom in down here, very close to the border of Ukraine. You can see here, probably around 10 miles or so from the border. Okay, so zooming in, very close to the city of Novoshakhtinsk, where it gets its name from. And we'll zoom into the Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery. Here it is, okay? So primarily, this is the area of the refinery that mostly got hit. I'm not sure if any of these oil storage tanks went up in flames, but this is primarily the major part of it that was on fire that we'll be able to see from the videos. So it is a pretty good size oil refinery that was attacked, okay? So again, down here near the city of Novoshakhtinsk in the Rostov region. So we can see here when we zoom out, okay, right in this area here. So major hit right next to the border of Ukraine. So let's go ahead and hop on over to X now, and I've got video footage to show you guys. From War Translated Dmitry, the Ukrainian General Staff has confirmed a strike on the Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery in the Rostov region last night. The attack involved a combination of UAVs and Neptune missile systems. The refinery was the only refinery operating in Rostov region, and it was used to support military activities. Okay, so we've got a 19-second video to show you guys with sound of this thing on fire after it was hit by drones and Ukrainian-made Neptune missiles. Take a look. All right, looks like it was destroyed pretty bad. We can see for sure 1, 2, 3 major fires at this facility, probably from multiple hits from these drones and also these Neptune missiles. So most likely the Neptune missiles directly striking. I wouldn't be surprised if Ukraine used several of them to strike this oil refinery. So there's going to be major damage and a shutdown of this facility for a significant amount of time due to the damages here, okay? So very big hit by Ukraine. Moving on to another update from Special Kherson Cat. Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery was targeted by drones in the Rostov region of Russia. So we had somebody else that captured this attack also from a little bit further away in the distance. Let's go ahead and take a look at this as well. 23 seconds long. All right, so a little bit harder to see the facility from this video because it is further away, but we can see lots of smoke and that fire coming from the oil refinery right there. So definitely a massive hit by the Ukrainians on this facility. One more video here coming out from Igor Sushko. Russia, Ukrainian drone struck the Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery in the Rostov region. 30-second video. Go ahead and take a look at this. This probably being one of the best videos that we have to show you guys of this oil refinery on fire here. And this looks like probably right around the time that it got hit by the drones, maybe not by the missiles yet, as it doesn't look like there is heavy damage here aside from fires that have broken out on the tops of this refinery. So major fire here already breaking out on this refinery. So let's go ahead and move on to another update now from Anton Gerashenko. Russian Telegram channels report that an oil depot in Novoshakhtinsk, Rostov region of Russia is on fire after an explosion. Earlier, a drone attack on Rostov region was reported by local media. Okay, so this video is not very clear, but you are going to see somewhat of a fire over here from this facility, but pay attention closely. I'll have the sound turned up a little bit higher, and you will be able to hear what sounds like some drone impacts in the background, potentially maybe striking other targets, or I'm not sure if they were hitting this facility even more, but it sounds like drones and explosions in the background. Take a look. don't know if you guys could hear those, but it sounded like 2, maybe 3 separate explosions in the distance. We can't really see them, but you can definitely hear them. So I'm not sure if maybe these are air defense teams shooting these interceptors in the skies, maybe taking down some of the incoming drones. But it looks like a major drone attack was launched onto this facility prior to it coming under attack by Neptune missiles, okay? So moving on to some other updates now, we've got this video from Max24. Russians shelled the suburbs of Kharkiv with artillery. Several ballistic missiles were also launched at Refinery. Okay, so this is the first time I've been able to show you guys video footage of artillery shells striking the city of Kharkiv up in northeastern Ukraine. Now, Kharkiv is not too far away from the border of Russia, so I believe they do have some artillery systems, and I think the ones that are coming from North Korea, the Koksan artillery guns, I believe those can strike inside of Kharkiv. We've been hearing about that recently, so I think that's what might be hitting here in this video. So pay attention. Right over here, kind of next to this yellowish building that's lit up here, you're going to see some explosions over here in the distance from artillery shells striking directly inside of Kharkiv. Take a look. All right, pretty intense artillery strikes we can see over here in the distance, at least 4 or 5, maybe more direct hits over here in the city. I'm not sure what the target was, but there is a woman that is on X. Her name is Kate from Kharkiv, and she was actually reporting this prior to me seeing this video. I did see her message that she put out yesterday stating that there was explosions being heard in Kharkiv. So this is probably what she was hearing in the area because she does live here as far as I know. So obviously direct strikes over here from these artillery shells being fired from Russia, okay? So I want you guys to see this now too. Since we're talking about these North Korean artillery guns, we've got video footage of more of them traveling on trains inside of Russia, okay? This is from Vicegrad24. North Korea is bringing in even more of its 170 millimeter M1989 Koksan self-propelled howitzers towards the front lines in Ukraine. A new video shows the weapon systems being transported west by Russia's railway system. Okay, so we've shown you guys at least, I want to say maybe 1 or 2 more videos just recently in the past of these Koksan artillery guns being transported from North Korea over to Russia to send to the front lines. And now we've got more video footage of it. So take a look at this. All right, so we've got dozens and dozens of these artillery systems heading over to Russia once again. Now, you know, we keep understanding that, you know, this war could potentially be coming to an end very soon. We've been hearing a lot about peace talks over the last several weeks now, but this does not look like the war's coming to an end. This looks like it's continuing to worsen, you know, whenever we see all this weaponry heading over to the front line. So who knows what's going to happen here? We don't really know if this war is going to end sometime soon or not. Let's hope for the best, and maybe it will end peacefully, but does not look like that is the case. It looks like tensions are continuing to ratchet up at this time with videos like that. All right, so now I want to talk a little bit about some of the statements that Vladimir Putin was making at his conference today. Again, about 4.5 hours long conference while he was speaking. And then we'll also talk about some of the statements coming out from Vladimir Zelensky as he was speaking at the Brussels European Council conference as well. These both just happening today. So this is from Nexta. The direct line with Putin has ended after 4.5 hours. Kremlin's dictator's most odious statements during the session. Putin called war motion and said that he is bored without war. When everything is calm, stable, measured, we get bored. We want some action. But when action begins, we're getting scary. Putin proposed to the West an experiment, a high-tech duel, to designate a target in Kiev, to pull all of your air defense there, and we'll strike there with Oreshnik and see what happens. Remember this one right here, because that's a pretty big statement. We're going to have a response from Vladimir Zelensky in our next update here. Putin believes he has safeguarded Russia. Not only safeguarded, we stepped back from the edge of the abyss. Putin stated that the main beneficiary of the war in Syria is Israel, and also that there have never been Russian troops in Syria. There were only 2 military bases. The situation happened in Syria is not a defeat for Russia. It wasn't the terrorists who came to power there. We achieved our goal. Russia will talk to Zelensky if he runs in elections and gains legitimacy. Moscow will sign peace agreements only with the legitimate leader of Ukraine. Zelensky will be taken into allowance by those people who interests he serves, but if he will jump out like a jack-in-the-box, Russia may offer him asylum. So this was a picture of Vladimir Putin today speaking at that conference. Kind of a funny-looking photo. Somebody caught a weird image of him as he was speaking. But yeah, so these were some of the statements coming out today, and one of the big ones here that that stuck with me was the fact that he was basically telling NATO and the West, let's do a duel here. Let's test out this Oreshnik missile, see if you guys can shoot this down. Pick a target inside of Kiev. We'll fire this thing into Kiev, and if you guys can shoot it down, then we'll say, hey, NATO's got the ability to shoot it down. But he's pretty confident that nobody in the entire world will be able to intercept the Oreshnik medium-range ballistic missile that they recently fired into Ukraine, into Dnipro, okay? So let's move on to this next update now from Max24. Putin suggested to hit Kiev with Oreshnik as an experiment to see what would happen. Do you think this is a reasonable person? Scumbags, says Zelensky. Putin is an old dreamer. He lives in his own aquarium. We will not continue to the transit of Russian gas. We will not let Russia earn millions on our blood, he said. Okay, so obviously coming out and blasting this statement from Vladimir Putin, and using Ukraine as a testing ground, that's not really, something funny to be joking about. And obviously firing this ballistic missile into Kiev would be very dangerous. Even if this were to be a duel to set this up and maybe create a safe environment, it's just crazy to think that, that this thing should be tested out and see if NATO can even shoot this thing down and all that, and do this inside of Kiev, the capital of Ukraine. So Zelensky was not happy with that statement coming out today. Also want to show you guys this from War Translated Dmitry. There will be no ceasefire until Ukraine has security guarantees and a strong position. Zelensky's first statements at the European Council. So this is what he was talking about in the very beginning of this statement. It does have subtitles down below, and he will be speaking Ukrainian while he was at the European Council. So go ahead and take a look at this, guys. 50 seconds long.
Щодо питання припинення вогню. Ми повинні з вами зрозуміти, що ми не можемо жити з замороженим конфліктом. Коли йдеться мова про сісфаєр, у будь-якому конфлікті, у будь-якій війні, люди знають, що буде після. Чим все закінчиться. Треба знати, що завтра, для того, щоб сьогодні робити сісфаєр. А в іншому випадку ви просто робите заморожений конфлікт і все. І тому Україні потрібні гарантії безпеки. Сильна позиція України і гарантії безпеки. Безумовно, Україна хоче закінчення війни. Безумовно, ми хочемо миру, сталого миру. І, безумовно, Росія цього не хоче. І це постійно демонструє. Дивіться, щодо питань...
Okay, so once again, we're seeing Volodymyr Zelensky come out and state that security guarantees are required for Ukraine to start negotiating. That's a very big part of their victory plan is, not only that do they want to have strength, do they want to have weapons to protect themselves, but at the same time, they want a security guarantee. And the number one security guarantee that they want is to get into NATO. So he's continuously pushing to try to get Ukraine into NATO as soon as possible so they can have that protection of, Article 5 and NATO's backing in case they were ever to be attacked again, which would obviously most likely prevent Russia from attacking Ukraine ever again, is kind of what he's stating, okay? So also moving on to another update from Bliskovka. In Novosibirsk, partisans burned fuel stations of the occupation army of the Russian Federation, the main intelligence department of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine stated. So this came out today. Apparently, this was the Russian Freedom Legion that did this, a partisan group in Russia. And they apparently burned down some fuel stations and some fuel tankers. There was some video coming out online as well showcasing this, but this is a snapshot of some of the fuel tankers that were catching on fire as they were deliberately set ablaze. Okay, so some more sabotage operations happening inside of Russia to report today. Moving on to another update from Max24. For the first time since the start of the full-scale war, Ukraine is winning the economic war against Russia, says The Economist. Thanks to government decisions and Western aid, the Ukrainian economy is ahead of Russia in several key indicators. The GDP growth forecast, the key rate at 13.5%, and the stability of the hryvnia. But there are also problems: a shortage of electricity, money, and people. In 2025, almost the entire budget deficit will be covered by aid from Western partners. Okay, so this is the report that was coming out from The Economist today. It says Ukraine is winning the economic war against Russia. Whether that lasts depends on its ability to overcome acute shortages of power, money, and men and money. So so obviously that's some big problems for Ukraine right now. Power issues are a big problem. Shortage of men, as many of them are on the front lines, many of them even dying in the war also. And then money could be an issue too, because many of their workers that were originally in factories inside of Ukraine, just like Russia, having the same issue right now. They're all fighting on the front lines. So economies are going to struggle, but they do have a lot of backing from the West right now. The West's been providing lots of economic aid for them, so it's helping stabilize their economy while they're at war. Russia obviously not in a good position either. Their economy is not doing very good at all right now. They don't have a huge backing from all kinds of countries around the world. They do have a few countries supporting them, but economically, Russia's is fighting a lot of this on their own, unlike Ukraine. Ukraine's getting a lot of support from Western nations, even the United States especially. So, big report coming out today regarding the economy of Ukraine. So, moving on to another update from Noel Reports, around 100 killed and 1,000 wounded, says South Korean intelligence reports heavy losses among North Korean soldiers fighting for Russia in the Kursk region, per Reuters. The high casualties are due to their lack of experience in drone warfare and unfamiliarity with the open terrain where battles are taking place. Okay, so this was a report coming out today. It says North Korean troops suffer 100 deaths struggling in drone warfare, says South Korea. Okay, so here's some more reports of what potentially could be North Korean deaths and wounded. Okay, so they're stating, South Korean intelligence says that around 100 killed and 1,000 wounded. Okay, we also showed you guys a video last night. If you didn't see that, hop on over to my page and go check it out. It's the last video that I put out just before this regarding a Russian phone call that was intercepted between a nurse in Moscow. She was speaking to her husband, who is on the front lines in the Kursk region fighting for the Russian army. And she was telling her husband that that trainloads of North Korean soldiers were showing up at a hospital that she was working at, and they were completely clearing out all the wards. The entire hospital was being prepared to bring in mass amounts of North Korean soldiers that were wounded. Maybe even some of them could have been killed. We definitely know that for sure hundreds of North Korean soldiers already at least wounded, potentially even many of them dead, okay? So that's big reports coming out even from South Korea's intelligence, okay? One last thing to show you guys before we get you out of here from the Kyiv Independent. These are the indicative estimates of Russia's combat losses as of December 19th, according to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. So we got our daily update here of Russian losses according to Ukraine. They say 1,530 troops, 27 APVs, 68 vehicles and fuel tanks, 5 tanks, 14 artillery systems, 51 UAVs, 4 special equipment, and 1 anti-aircraft warfare system. Okay, so these are the losses that are being reported by Ukraine on Russia's side over the last 24 hours. So just wanted to give you guys that update as well. And that is going to be it for today's update regarding Ukraine. And I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in today. If you got something out of this update, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.